Wildcat basketball is on the air from St. Paul on the campus of St. Catherine University and its Butler Center. We welcome you in on a Saturday afternoon of MIAC women's basketball as today the Wildcats, under the direction of second-year head coach Don Mulhern, welcome in Bethel University and their Royals. Matt Nelson alongside of engineer Glenn Thompson. Again, we welcome you into St. Paul and thank you for spending a part of your weekend with us. The Wildcats coming off a nice win on Thursday night. Game came 24 hours later than expected because of the extreme cold and severe weather in the Twin Cities, but in the end the Wildcats won by 11, 70-59 the final score against Concordia and the Cobbers. Katie Benjamin, what a game, 17 points off of the bench in just 14 minutes, and she did it in an efficient fashion. 7 of 10 from the floor along with 6 rebounds. Audra Clark almost had a triple-double, 13 points, 6 boards, and 8 assists. And Donica Cambryce, you can set your watch to her, always very good. She had 14 points for the Wildcats that now sit at 6-7 in the MIAC, 9-11 overall on the 2018-2019 season. For Bethel, through their first 20 games, they're 14-6, 8-5 in the MIAC. Their last time out was Thursday night, and they took a loss on the road, 81-78 the final score, and a close one against St. Ben's. The Bennies winning just by 3 in that one. But as always, Bethel, very good offensive team. Back on the 23rd against Carleton, 23rd of January, they scored 100 points, and then against McAllister 3 days later, they dumped in 104 points. So this Bethel team can score. 8-5 in the MIAC right now. That finds them in a tie for third place in the conference with St. Mary's and Gustavus. For their very experienced head coach, John Herbeck-Schmeier, he's in his 17th season leading the Royals women's basketball program. After today, well, including today, let's say the Wildcats have 5 games to go, and they're still in the thick of things for the MIAC playoffs. Let's continue our pregame show and hear from Don Mulhern. Wildcat pregame show continues. As always, we step into Coach Mulhern's office to catch up with head coach Don Mulhern. And Coach, let's talk about Thursday night. Got to catch myself before I say Wednesday night, because it was, after all, Thursday night. A nice win, an 11-point win against Concordia. I thought your team came out with great energy early. I thought especially they played well in the second half. And Benjamin gave you as good of a 14 minutes as you could ever ask for somebody off of the bench.
Well, she certainly did. I mean, she's getting better and better in front of our eyes, and she's getting more confident. She's getting stronger. And her teammates are doing a really good job of passing her the ball in a good position for her to finish. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a subtle thing, but you can make a pass on the post, the perimeter of the post, where they're off balance and they're not ready, and all of a sudden nothing good happens. Or you can pass the ball where you're leading them into their rhythm, and we've been doing that really well relative to getting her good looks, and it's really been positive for us.
You can't talk about passing without talking about Clark. She almost had a triple-double the other night. Her passing, I thought, was sensational, whether it was to Cambryce or to Benjamin or to Orth, whoever it was. She just seemed to find him right in stride.
Well, she does, and, you know, she takes pride in her passing. I mean, she's the all-time assist player here, and so every assist is a new record. Mm-hmm. I hope that you're recognizing that for assists. But, you know, I guess when we talk with our other players, you know, about you got to run the court, you got to put yourself in a spot where when she gets into the lane and kind of draws traffic, that you can be open. And there's kind of an art to that. I mean, you've got to have a feel for where Audra's going to be and where you can be based upon where she's going to be, and sort of anticipation and basketball IQ. And Audra likes to make that pass. She likes to get into traffic, likes to create, and has done a really good job with that.
Against Concordia on Thursday night, I thought the defense in the second half, it was like watching a different team. They came out with a great play on the defensive end of the floor.
Well, that's an interesting comment, because our defense in the first half, let's just say, it needs to be a lot better. So I appreciate you saying that. And we talked about that at halftime, that, you know, defense, a lot of it is your attitude and you just get after it. And we didn't in the first half play the defense that we expect. In the second half, it certainly was better. So I appreciate you making that comment. It's got to be better.
Let's talk some about your opponent today. Speaking of defense, Bethel, a team that you guys played back in January. It was close late into the second half before Bethel pulled away and won the first game of this series in 2018-2019. You host them today. They're a team that is having a good season, and they've been able to put up some big offensive numbers when you look at their last 5-6 games.
Well, they have. They've had 2 games of 100 or 100 more, which, let's face it, that's putting some points up. And then their last game against St. Benzie had, I believe, 87, so they can put the ball in the basket. And a transition defense is big. We've got to be able to, sprint back and, pick up their shooters and not let them get open shots. They're a team that when they get in the rhythm, they have so many different players that you can't let them get that rhythm, which means early in the game you've got to lock down, close out, and try to take them out of that confidence. Because let's face it, we all know confidence makes good shooters even better shooters, and we don't want to, they're good shooters as it is. I don't want to make them even a better shooter.
For your team, anytime you get a second look at a team, there has to be an advantage, especially, I would imagine, for the younger players.
Well, I think that, today's world with synergy, everybody scouts everybody. So, we look at their tendencies, they look at our tendencies, and it's sort of like chess, where can you counter the counter before they've countered your counter? And I know it sounds sort of silly, but it's kind of what you try to do. And you try to expect what they're going to adjust, and you try to adjust based upon what you've seen. So, we've making some adjustments. I'm sure they will. They have a very good coach, and the bottom line is we've got to make some shots and lock down on defense. And if that, we'll be in good shape. We've got to do those 2 things.
One thing that I wanted to highlight, we've talked a lot about shooting the basketball in our pregame interviews this year. It seems to me that you've found a trio of players that can make an open three-pointer, whether it's Isaacson, Amaker, or even Johnson.
Well, those 3 really have that history of being able to do that. And all of those 3, it's interesting if you mention those 3, Lauren, Taylor, and Grace, all 3 also played a fall sport. So the bottom line is that they're a little bit behind just because there's a little bit of a delay there, and plus their bodies are tired. I think they're now getting their bodies really into basketball. I don't want to use the word basketball shape, but just more of a comfort zone, and you can see it. They all have good shots, good rhythm, and I think they're now becoming more confident, so that's a good thing.
Speaking of good things, I imagine for your team as you come down the home stretch of the MIAC season, for a player like Cam Bryce, now that you're getting more offensive output from around the roster, a nice luxury to know that you don't need her to dump in 25, 30 points in order to win a game. No,
and we're actually kind of expanding her role in other ways. She's handling the ball more against the press. You might see that today. We're having a guard more perimeter players, and in our St. Olaf game, we put her on one of the perimeter girls late in the game, and she did a good job there. So on the one hand, she doesn't need to maybe score as much. On the other hand, we're expanding her responsibilities in other areas because she's pretty good at those other areas.
Coach, good luck today with Bethel. Think it should be another good, close, competitive MIAC game. They all seem to be these days.
They all are. This is the MIAC, and you bet that it probably will be.
That's Don Mulhern in our Wildcat pregame show. It's Alumni Day. It's Parents Appreciation Day. Let's go downstairs to court level.
Parents' Day today. So if you would draw your attention to center court, we're going to honor and meet the parents of the St. Catherine University basketball team. Parents, your unconditional support over the last years has meant so much to us, to our players and our fans. Now let's meet the players and their families in numerical order. First, number 1, Allie Brown, with parents Bruce and Heidi. Number 2, Chloe Venegas, parents Raleigh and Jane. Number 4, Sam Hogan, parents Jennifer and Alex. Mackenzie Kurzak, parents Chris and Lisa. Number 10, Ashley Fosness, parents Nick and Jenny. Number 11, Donica Cambries, and parents Michelle and Stephen. Number 13, Audra Clark, parents Kevin and Paula. Number 14, Taylor Johnson, and parents Steve and Diane. Number 15, Jackie Radford, and parents James and Therese. Number 20, Stephanie Miller, parents Jeff and Jennifer, and nephew Isaac. Number 21, Emma Nelson, parents Scott and Gail. Number 22, Katie Benjamin, and parents Kyle and Nancy. Number 23, Sam Orth, and parents Brett and Karen. Number 25, Mackenzie Detman, parents Patty and Mike. Number 30, Lauren Isaacson, parents Mike and Mary. Number 31, Grace Amaker, parents Brian and Carrie. Number 34, Sophie Willems, and parents Steve and Lisa. Number 40, Cassie Jenkins, parents Ron and Kathy. And number 44, Jillian Vogt, and parents Julie and Darren. Parents, you've done a great job with these young ladies. Now move in close so we can get a picture of all of you. And I mean move in close. It's not a very wide angle camera we're using. Everybody move in tighter. Somebody's phone is ringing. Smile pretty, say cheese or anything else that'll make your lips look like you're smiling. And again, ladies and gentlemen, parents, thank you so much. And remember, young ladies, once a Katie, always a Katie.
Don't forget to hand me the microphone. He needs a microphone when you announce it.
Pretty nice. Parents and Alumni Appreciation Day. Let's send it back downstairs. Per usual, we'll honor America with the playing of the Star-Spangled Banner. And after the anthem, we'll have starting lineups and the tip. Royals and Cats on a Saturday afternoon from St. Paul.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's meet the starting lineups for this afternoon's game. First, for the visiting Royals, from White Bear Lake, Minnesota, junior guard number 2, Katie Anderson. For the Wildcats, from Cottage Grove, Minnesota, freshman guard number 14, Taylor Johnson. For the Royals, from Blade, Minnesota, sophomore forward, number 5, McKenna Pearson. For the Wildcats from Maple Grove, Minnesota, freshman forward, number 23, Sam Orth. For the Royals from Maple Grove, Minnesota, junior guard, number 21, Haley Baker. For the Wildcats from Minneapolis, Minnesota, junior guard, number 11, Donica Cambries. For the Royals from Duluth, Minnesota, senior center, number 35, Hannah Johnson. For the Wildcats from St. Paul, Minnesota, junior guard, number 15, Jackie Radford. For the Royals from Savage, Minnesota, sophomore forward, number 55, Elizabeth Schwartz. And for the Wildcats from Kenyon, Minnesota, senior guard, number 13, Audra Clark. The balance of the Royals and the balance of your St. Catherine University Wildcats.
Let's bring it back upstairs. Royals coming on the road to take on St. Kate's and the Wildcats as we welcome you back in. Matt Nelson alongside of engineer Glenn Thompson, and a reminder that today's broadcast is interactive. Drop us a note and we'll make sure to get you on the air. Whether you're rooting for the Royals or the Wildcats today, it's wildcatsbooth@gmail.com. Again, it's wildcatsbooth@gmail.com. Let us know where you're listening and watching from on this Saturday. Tropical Saturday compared to what we've had the last week or so in the Twin Cities. And again, we welcome you into St. Paul. Once again, running down the starters for both of these teams. For Bethel, 2 guards and 2 forwards. Anderson and Barker in the backcourt. Pearson and Schwartz in the front court alongside of center Hannah Johnson. 4 guards and a forward for the Wildcats. Cambrise, Clark, Johnson, Radford, and Orth. It's Orth and Johnson to take the tip, and we are underway. And the tip is won by Bethel. It's chased down by Anderson. Into the front court now, it's Pearson. Her first touch against Cambrise. Spins into a shot that's short. Rebound tapped out of bounds. It was last touched by Audra Clark as she was battling with Schwartz for that loose ball. It's Tate Anderson, the junior out of White Bear Lake, Minnesota in there. There's also Tessa Anderson, who comes off of the bench for Bethel. A slap of the basketball by Barker as she surveys these two teams played. And 5 seconds before Bethel could get it in. Nowhere for Barker to go, and the Wildcats force a turnover. 5-second violation, a turnover, and the Wildcats will get the ball for the first time on this Saturday afternoon with Cambrise with a good head of steam into the front court. Made a move. Layup short. Rebound batted around before Hannah Johnson comes up with it and gets fouled in the backcourt. It's the first foul against St. Kate's. It belongs to the junior guard Cambrise. And it'll give Bethel the basketball for the second time this afternoon. Again, wildcatsbooth@gmail.com if you want to drop us a note. Let us know where you're watching from on this Saturday afternoon as Clark poked it away from Pearson, and it's stolen away. Orth for Clark to the basket. She's fouled. Layup no good, but Clark to the line to shoot 2. The foul's the first of the afternoon against Bethel, and it belongs to Haley Barker, the junior guard out of Maple Grove, Minnesota. It sends Clark to the free throw line. Clark 14.5 points per game to go along with 5 boards and 4 assists per game as well. Clark knocks down her first. Thursday night against the Cobbers, Clark 13 points, 6 boards, and 8 assists. As she goes 2 of 2 from the free throw line. Good free throw shooter, 74% on the season. Wildcats lead it 2-0 by a little bit of backcourt pressure. It's handled easily. Tate Anderson goes down low with it, and it's an easy layup for Elizabeth Schwartz. Schwartz, 7.5 per game for the sophomore out of Savage, Minnesota. Just under 5 boards as well, and Clark is going to be called for a travel as she was harassed by Barker in the backcourt. Schwartz, 7.5 points per game, just under 5 rebounds. And Schwartz just starting her second game this year, but playing in her 21st each and every game this year for the Royals. Anderson to her right, guarded by Radford. She'll float it for Schwartz. Double teamed immediately. She'll try to fire cross court. It's stolen away by Cambryce. 2-on-1. Cambryce to the rack, and she's fouled. Layups off for Cambryce, but the foul is going to go against Tate Anderson, and she gave the wall a slap on her visit over to the wall. It's the second foul against the Royals, and I said Anderson, pardon me. The foul is against the sophomore from Blaine Pearson, and it sends Cambryce to the free throw line where she clanks her first. Cambryce just under 16 points per game, 5.5 boards, playing in her 17th game this year, starting her 13th game, and makes good on her second. Cambryce this year, 69% free throw shooter. 3-2 lead for the Wildcats. Anderson for Schwartz, guarded by Cambryce. Going down low with it is Anderson. She had it poked away by Cambryce, but it was scooped up by Pearson. Now Pearson down low, and it's Anderson laying it up and in. Tate Anderson having a great year offensively, starting each and every game this year for the Bethel Royals, just under 17 points per game to go along with 5.5 boards. Pearson comes up with the rebound with the Royals leading by 1. Long cross-court pass finds its mark, Tate Anderson. Now Johnson guarded by Radford. Pearson to her left. Three-pointer on the way. She knocked it down right in the face of Johnson. Pearson knocks down the game's first three-pointer. Pearson has been in the starting lineup for all 21 games this year for Bethel as well, and averages a dozen points a game. 7-3 lead early for Bethel, and they can get on you quick. Orth, pump fake, drives, got to the basket, laid it up and in. 10 points a game for Orth, as the bucket was assisted by Cambryce. 10 points a game for Orth, 6 boards per game, and just as a freshman, she's starting her 21st game this season. Loose ball scooped up by Radford. Now Clark will set up the offense. With the Wildcats down just by 2. Clark spinning, driving, and scoring. Audra Clark has 4 first quarter points, and we're all tied up at 7 apiece. Wildcats making Bethel work the length of the court. Pearson, pump fake. Now Barker down low for Schwartz. Triple teamed and had it stolen away by Radford. Wildcats force a turnover. Great defense by Jackie. Outlet pass. Orth couldn't come up with it. Instead, it's stolen away by the junior Anderson. Anderson into the front court. Picks up her dribble. Schwartz up top. Extra pass. Pearson 3 on the way. That's short. Rebound Clark. Audra Clark, such a good rebounding guard. 5.5 boards per game for Audra. Radford drives, kicks, Cambryce short jumper blocked, loose ball. Wildcats come up with it with Orth, and they're going to say that it was tapped out of bounds, and it's Bethel ball. There was contact underneath the basket. Orth's going to get her first breather, and Katie Benjamin is going to come in. Benjamin off of the bench Thursday night against Concordia, 17 points in 14 minutes. On 7-10 shooting and had the 6 rebounds. Don Muller's getting an explanation on that whistle because he felt like Orth was bumped out of bounds. And I understand why he's asking for that. He wanted the official to say blue ball because she did signal that it was Wildcat ball. But all of the players went to the other side of the floor. Oh, wide open underneath the basket. Easy bucket. As down low, Pearson finds Cragen for her first bucket. Cragen getting some bench scoring going on for Bethel. Cragen, sophomore out of Hugo, has struggled shooting the three-pointer, but that was a pretty easy one down low as Clark's shot is short. Benjamin couldn't come up with it, but it was tapped out of bounds by Hannah Johnson. So Wildcat ball. 4 minutes into the ball game. Again, today's broadcast is interactive. Pretty quiet in the inbox. Wildcats booth at gmail.com. 9-7 Bethel lead. Radford drives. Left-handed hook shot, no good. Loose ball chased down by Bethel. Good job to keep it alive by Bella Williams. High effort play by Williams to win the possession for Bethel. Layup though short for Johnson. Got it back. Had it stripped away by the freshman Johnson, who tried to find Clark, and she was fouled by Bella Williams. Williams, sophomore out of Zimmerman, Minnesota, just made that high effort play to keep the ball alive on the other side of the court. Came down this side and bumped Clark for the foul. Third of the first quarter against Bethel. Wildcats down by 2. Benjamin one-on-one down low. Off of the window and scored and cleared Hannah Johnson to the deck on her way to the basket. Foul's going to be called in the backcourt after the bucket. It's the first against Audra Clark, but nice to get Benjamin going off of the bench as Kerchek and Amaker will come in. Means a break for Johnson and Clark. So a new backcourt for Don Mulhern with the score tied at 9 with 5 minutes and 23 seconds left in the first quarter. Good game early. Pearson for Johnson. She'll backpedal. Lost Cam Bryce and scored off of the window. Johnson goes off of the glass for her first bucket. She averages 16 a game to go along with 10 rebounds. One of those players that averages a double-double each and every game as Anderson steals it away from Kerchek. Now Cragen nearly lost it and she traveled. Good defense by Amaker and Cam Bryce to force Cragen into the travel and the turnover. Wildcats down by 2, get the basketball. After today's game, the Wildcats will have 4 to go. Cam Bryce off of the elbow. Shot short. Rebound McKenna Pearson. Wildcats sitting at 6 and 7 in MIAC play. As Pearson lost it, somehow got it back and scored. She's got 5 first quarter points. Bethel leads by 4. And the Wildcats turn it over in the backcourt. Williams has it now. Wildcats will retreat and play defense. Tate Anderson spins, lost her dribble, got it back, kicked it outside. Johnson three-pointer, too strong, loose ball, and a foul is going to be called. I think this is going to go against Cragen. It is a foul, and let's see. No, they're going to say instead Pearson's second foul, as there was all kinds of contact fighting for that loose ball. So Pearson gets called for her second. Clark for Orth, who's back in there. Orth and Benjamin on the floor at the same time. A pump fake by Amaker, and she got clobbered by Cragen, and the foul is going to go against Cragen, her first. It's the 5th against the Royals in the first quarter. That means for the next 3 minutes and 56 seconds, the Wildcats will play on to the bonus. So Amaker to the free throw line. The freshman out of Faribault with a chance to draw the Wildcats closer. This is her first. Bethel 6 of their first 10 from the floor. Wildcats 3 of 9 so far. And the Wildcats so far 3 of 5 from the free throw line. Now 3 of 6. 4 of 6. Amaker goes 1 for 2. And the Wildcats trail it by 3. Cragen into the front court. This Bethel team, dynamic and dangerous offensively. Tessa Anderson goes to the left side. Williams directs traffic. Wanted to get it down low. Got it to Anderson. Back for Williams. Poked away by Clark. Mentioned twice in late January this team scored 100 or more, and a foul's going to be called. Don Mulhern not pleased. The foul called, and it will send Cragen to the free throw line. The foul is against Benjamin, the freshman's first. Third foul against the Wildcats. 6.5 minutes into the first quarter. So Cragen to the free throw line. First shot rattles around and falls. Cragen, I mentioned, has struggled with her shot, but she's had a good first quarter already with 3 points. Just 4 of 23 shooting the three-point shot, and has only shot 44% from the free throw line this year. But made good on her first. Her next can make it a 5-point game. And it rattled in and out. So the Wildcats still down just by 2 buckets, just the 4 points. Clark nifty dribbling into the lane. Layup good. Nice take by Audra Clark. Clark has half of the Wildcats scoring today, 6 of their 12 points in this first quarter. Anderson for Cragen. Kicks it back outside, wide open 3. Anderson passed on it. Clark picked her pocket and then upended her, and they're going to call the loose ball foul against Clark. There it is, the second foul against Audra. I'd imagine that would get her a spot on the bench for a breather. She didn't love the call as she was diving for the loose ball, but either way, it's the second foul against Audra. And Don Mulhern was asking if both players were scrapping on the ground, how could you call a foul? But the official said that Clark tripped her on her way to the ground. So that was the call. Loose ball again, and this is going to be over and back. No touch by the Wildcats. Tate Anderson had to chase it down, couldn't come up with it, went sliding over half court. And before she could come up with the ball, she was called for over and back, as Don Mulhern still getting an explanation on that second foul called against Clark. Benjamin down low, Clark posts up, double team, doesn't matter, shoots anyway. Shot off, Orth offensive rebound, and she got fouled. 2 free throws coming up for Orth. A foul against Bethel with 2:43 left in the first quarter is called on Cragen, her second, and Orth back to the free throw line. Makes her first. Free throw shooting's been a work in progress this year for Orth, still under 60%. Came into the game shooting 57% from the free throw line, but her first looked very good. Second rattled in and out, and Bethel comes up with a rebound. It was Schwartz hauling it in. So the Wildcats now from the free throw line, 5 of 8 in this first quarter. Wide open three. Barker lines one up. Too strong. Weak side rebound. Wildcats had it, lost it. It's a jump ball, and the Wildcats have the arrow. Wildcats 4 of 11 from the floor in this first quarter. Bethel 6 of 10. Bethel's turned it over 8 times in this first quarter. Wildcats have turned it over 5 times. So Bethel uncharacteristically a bit careless with the basketball as Cam Bryce makes a strong move into the front court. Johnson got tangled up with Anderson, and they're going to call over and back. Don Mulhern again has not been pleased with this first quarter officiating. They're going to say it was a turnover and that it's Bethel ball. Oh, they call it jump ball. Bethel at the arrow. 2:13 to go. Anderson. Boy, good, competitive, physical game. Down low, Schwartz scores for the Royals. She has 4 first quarter points. Ambrice bumped in the backcourt, no call. Now she spins. Wildcats have 5 games to go, including today. Probably realistically need 3 wins to make the playoffs. They need each and every game the rest of the way. Bethel won the first meeting between these two teams. Down low, nice pass. Orth for Cam Bryce. 3 points for Cam Bryce in the first quarter. 90 seconds to go in this first period of exciting basketball. Tate Anderson will set up shop for the Royals. Good game. Down low, Orth couldn't come up with it, but Amaker did. It was stolen away from Anderson. 9th turnover for Bethel in the first quarter. Cam Bryce with great speed into the front court, lost it. No foul called. Don Mulhern again not pleased. He's hollering at the officials. He thought Cam Bryce was fouled. You can hear him saying that Cam Bryce was run over. There was definitely all kinds of contact. Orth swats it away from the Anderson, who tried to get it, Williams, who tried to get it down low for Anderson. Now here comes Tessa Anderson, and they're going to call a foul against St. Kate's. And so Bethel will go to the free throw line with Tessa Anderson. Anderson averages 5 points a game. Anderson shoots 52% from the free throw line. First shot's good for Anderson as Don Mulhern continues the conversation with the officials. Isaacson to the bench, Radford back in. And again, the Wildcats with 5 games to go. I don't think less than 9 wins is going to get you into the playoffs. Each and every game, the rest of the way matters. Bethel by 3 as Anderson makes them both. These two teams playing with great energy. It's been a physical game on both sides. As Johnson drives, she lost her handle and it was poked out of bounds by Williams. So it'll be Wildcat ball with 20 seconds left on their shot clock. 32 on the game clock here in the first period. Slap of the ball by Radford, and she'll get it in for Johnson. Wildcats down by 3. Amaker, now Orth. Strong drive, dishes, Benjamin jumper, short. Radford rebound, her putback's off, and a rebound for Hannah Johnson. Oh, Jackie had it too and had a good look. Both teams playing so hard in this first quarter. 4 seconds left on the game clock as Williams steps back. Her shot short. Schwartz rebound and put back as the clock expires. The Royals score at the buzzer, and they'll take a 20-15 lead through the first 10 minutes. Let's step aside. It's our first break of the broadcast in what was an exciting first half of basketball. 20-15 the score, and you're listening to Wildcat basketball. Right now, Bethel by 5. As a family-owned and operated business since 1971, Goodmanson Construction continues to develop concrete relationships with their commercial and residential customers throughout the upper Midwest. Questions or concerns about concrete, asphalt, and the company's installation process, check out their website at goodmansonconstruction.com. Thank you, Goodmanson Construction. A proud sponsor of Wildcat Athletics since all the way back in 1971, the Universal Athletic Team has been passionate about fueling the dreams of athletes, and they put all their know-how into doing just that. By servicing and selling athletic gear to local athletes, high schools, and colleges, Universal Athletic has dedicated its heart and soul to the support of sports, fitness, and health programs in schools and communities. Here we go, second quarter. The first quarter was an exciting one. We welcome you back in. Matt Nelson alongside of Glenn Thompson. Right now, Bethel 20, St. Kate's 15 in St. Paul. Wildcats will open up the second quarter with the basketball, trailing by 5. They've got Amaker, Johnson, Orth, Benjamin, and Radford on the floor. Clark on the bench with the 2 fouls. Second one was iffy. Orth, nice pass. Benjamin through contact, scores. Could have been an and one, but either way, Benjamin finishes it off. She has 4 first half points, and the Wildcats trail it now by 3. Walking it into the lane with Barker. She'll kick it outside for Hannah Johnson, who will drive right at Orth, go around her, and kiss it off of the window for the short 2. Johnson has 4 points. Bethel leads it by 5. And the Wildcats turned it over. Johnson couldn't find Radford. Rushed the pass a bit. I don't know how long you can leave against a team as dangerous as Bethel, even with the 2 fouls. I don't know how long you can leave the 5 out there without Cam Bryce or Audra. And there comes Audra. She's going to check in. Every minute that goes by that you don't have 13 or 11 on the floor, you're kind of playing with some fire, I think, if you're St. Kate's. 22-17 the score. Bethel with the lead in the basketball. Marker guarded by Radford. Crossover dribble, spins into the lane. Shoots it into the corner. Pearson lines up a 3-pointer and hits it. Wildcats slow to close out as the dangerous Pearson, good outside shooter, has 8 points, averages 12 a game. Johnson in the corner. Clark going to work. Radford with it. Almost being dared to shoot by that Bethel zone. Now Jackie will line up a 3-pointer. Short, and Bethel and Tessa Anderson comes down to the rebound. They'll get out and run with it. Pearson off of the window. Too strong. Radford the rebound. Cambrace will come in at the next whistle for St. Kate's. 8:28 left in the first quarter. Clark, nifty pass. Down low. Benjamin spins and gets fouled. Anderson's going to be called for the foul. It'll send Benjamin to the free throw line. First foul against the very good center, Johnson, and the freshman gets one on her and goes to the free throw line. First for Benjamin is good. So 5 points off of the bench for Benjamin. Wildcats now 6 of 9 from the free throw line. And 7 of 10. Good trip to the stripe for Benjamin, who is a good free throw shooter, 64% for the 6'1" freshman. Wildcats have been out-rebounded 9-6 in this first half. Bethel has had the advantage on the glass. They hold a 6-point lead. Driving is Barker. Couldn't make the layup, but got her own rebound and somehow emerged from those 3 white jerseys. She'll take it right back to the rack and miss again. Orth, the rebound. Clark into the front court. Pulls it up at the free throw line. Couldn't get the roll. And Johnson comes down with the rebound. Pretty hard to steal one away from Johnson when she gets her 2 mitts on it. Got a great grip, great positioning, strong player. Anderson spins and gets fouled. They're going to call a block against, I'm guessing, Orth. No, instead Benjamin, her second foul, no shot. So a fresh shot clock, and Bethel will retain the ball with 7:42 left in the second quarter. If you're just joining us, welcome to St. Paul. Good game here, Wildcats and Bethel. Down low, layup good. Nice spin move by Anderson. She was well defended by Cambryce, but finished through the tough defense. She has 4 points. 27-19 lead for Bethel. Wildcats got to get something going offensively. Right now, not great rhythm. Got to try to get some points in transition as well. Those have been hard to come by. Seems like every time they get the ball in transition, you look up, there's 4 Navy jerseys waiting for them. Loose ball in the corner. Johnson gives it a heave over the shoulder. Cambryce deflects it, and Anderson comes up with it for the Royals. Here she comes. Floating layup is good. Doggone it. Anderson came up with a loose ball, drove it into the front court, and floated it home. It's a 10-point Bethel lead. And Don Mulhern has to take a timeout. 3 minutes into the second quarter. We've got 7 minutes to go in the first half. And we'll break with the players. You're listening to Wildcat Basketball. Is in the capable hands of Northfield Lines Incorporated, dedicated to ensuring that your travel experience is a positive one. Call to request a quote or to make a reservation at 888-670-8068 or visit their website at northfieldlines.com. Twin Cities Orthopedics offers a full spectrum of orthopedic care to individuals suffering sports-related problems and injuries. Their doctors are team physicians for St. Catherine's University as well as Augsburg University, Hamlin University, and others around the state of Minnesota. Visit tcomn.com and thank you to Twin Cities Orthopedics. Out of the Wildcat timeout, a turnover. Certainly not what Don Mulhern was discussing in that timeout, but Cambryce collects the miss by Pearson. So we go back the other way. Wildcats got to get it going in transition. That's going to be another turnover. Travel against Cambryce. 6:41 left in the second quarter. 10-point Bethel lead. Matt Nelson alongside of engineer Glenn Thompson. Again, pretty quiet on a Saturday in the inbox. WildcatsBooth@gmail.com. That's right, they're all here. It is a big crowd. And a foul's going to be called against Tate Anderson in the backcourt. So Tate Anderson is called for her first. Away from the ball, John Herbrichschmeier gets an explanation to his satisfaction and takes a seat. Clark for Orth. Her shot bit rushed and offline. Rebound McKenna Pearson. Pearson, sophomore from Blaine. Wow, she's got a great career ahead of her. Really good player. Bethel lines up and knocks down a three-pointer. I was just talking about her, McKenna Pearson. She has 11 points, almost already to her season average of 12 a game. Clark spinning, driving, dishing. Benjamin off of the window. Great job by Clark to get in there and create an easy opportunity for Benjamin, who has 8 points. 32-21 the new score. And a foul's going to be called right in front of the Wildcats bench as Radford came over and clocked Pearson pretty good. So the foul against Jackie is her first, second against St. Kate's in the second quarter. That's Johnson spinning and rebound Clark. Clark bumped, and that's a easy call. Tessa Anderson reaching in as Clark did her usual routine of going about 60 miles an hour into the front court, then bringing it back down below the speed limit, draws the reach, draws the contact, draws the foul. First, as I mentioned, against Anderson, third against Bethel. Johnson will come in for Orth. And Emma Nelson will come in for Fosness. So now you got Benjamin, Radford, Nelson, and Johnson. Clark well defended. Goes to Jackie Radford. Extra pass Benjamin. Scoop layup short. Loose ball. Still loose, and now we've got a foul call away from the basketball. And the call's against Jackie Radford. Don Mullern again. Getting another explanation on that one, but it's the second foul against Radford as the two teams are battling for that loose ball. Long pass ahead. Nicely done. Picked off by Benjamin. Hard to lob one into the front court when you got 6'1" down there on the other side waiting for you. Nice pass, Clark. Benjamin couldn't finish it off. And Bethel comes down with the rebound. Who else? Hannah Johnson. She's piling up the boards here early. Johnson already with 5 first-half rebounds. There goes Johnson to the basket, off of the window. Not great defense by the Wildcats as Johnson has 6 points. It's a 34-21 lead, and these next 5 minutes become very critical for St. Kate's. They need to shrink this lead as they go in the locker room. Johnson will try a three-pointer off of the back iron. Weak side offensive board, Benjamin, and she'll turn it back outside for Clark. Wildcats right now down by 13, now 11. Johnson walks it in and floats it home. Johnson, the freshman, starting her 17th game this season, scores. Now Benjamin against Johnson. Johnson misses. Schwartz offensive rebound. Easy putback. Schwartz set up shop right underneath the basket, pulled it in, and the Wildcats really no way to defend a player like Schwartz in that tight of proximity. Had great position, came down to the basketball. Wildcats are getting outslugged on the glass so far in this one. Benjamin lost it. Nelson come up with a loose ball. Radford for Clark. Three-pointer. Wildcats need one. That one's off. Rebound for Tate Anderson. Royals ball. Wildcats shooting the three now, 0 for 4 in the first half. And a foul, offensive foul, and another one against Tate Anderson, her second. We have subs coming in. Orth for Benjamin and Cam Bryce for Nelson. For the Wildcats with 3:51 left. And the Wildcats down by 13. Bethel will call Tessa Anderson and Tate Anderson back to the bench. And send out Williams and Cragen. They'll defend right now as the Wildcats, as I mentioned, these next 3:42. As good as Bethel is, and as hot as they've been recently, I don't think you want them marching in with a 13-point lead at the half. Got to get Cam Bryce going. That shot short. Rebound Johnson, her 6th. One of those games, down low, Schwartz, had great position on Johnson, but rushed the layup. Rebound Wildcats. St. Kate's going the other way with it. Clark layup. Just got it off in the nick of time. Tough shot for Clark, but she makes it. 36-25, the new score. Audra, big first half, 8 points for Audra. And 3 assists. 36-25. Wildcats down by 11. Bethel shooting the 3 so far, 3 of 7, now 3 of 8. Rebound Radford. Wildcats still looking for their first three-pointer. Cam Bryce, wrong numbers, but got a clean shot off. Rattled in and out. Cam Bryce struggling with the shot here in the first half. She's now 1 of 6. Playing great defense, though, and they're going to call her for a foul. Let's see. She collided with Barker, and they are going to call Cam Bryce for her second foul. Both arms up in the air, but she came in there and bumped Barker. So Barker draws the foul against Cam Bryce. It's the 4th against St. Kate's with 2:24 to go in the second quarter. Fresh shot clock for the Royals. Tessa Anderson back in. Now Cragen. Wildcats not afraid of Cragen shooting the 3 evidently. Driving is Barker. Her layup off. Barker got it back. Boy, the Wildcats got to get something going on the rebounding game. Cragen puts her head down, drives to the basket. Layup off, rebound Kerchek. Nice pass for Clark into the front court. Clark, hurried pass for Radford, who lost it, then chased it down. Orth, long two-pointer. Off of the back iron, and 3 Bethel Royals are fighting for it, and it's going to result in the travel. Haley Barker got bumped off of her own rebound by Hannah Johnson, so the Wildcats will luck out and get the ball back. Lucky break because there were 3 Royals standing there waiting for that rebound off of the miss by Orth. So that's a really lucky break. Clark for Johnson, back for Clark. 3-pointer on the way. She got fouled, and Cragen's going to be called for the 5th Bethel foul of this second quarter. It's going to send Clark to the free throw line. 3rd foul against the bench player Cragen, and Audra back to the free throw line. Audra made her 2 first free throws earlier this afternoon, and she's got 3 coming her way with $1:46 to go in the second quarter. Boy, what a good first half for Audra. 3 of 8 from the floor, 2 assists. Now 10 points. And with Cambrai struggling in the first half, Clark has kept the Wildcats in the game. Great trip to the free throw line. Made all 3. So the Wildcats still haven't gotten that first 3-pointer, but they do the next best thing and get 3 of them at the free throw line. Allie Brown in, a freshman out of Rush City. More seldom used player. Off of that bench as Don's going to try to hide Audra with those 2 fouls and 1:40 to go. Open 3-pointer, Tessa Anderson. Floating shot, knocked it in. Tessa Anderson has 7 first half points. So the Wildcats get 3. Bethel gets them right back. Boy, young crew on the floor right now. Johnson, Kerchek, Brown, Orth, all freshmen. Just Jackie, the only one that's not a freshman on the floor for St. Kate's. Johnson open 3. Knocked it down. What a big shot. Ay, ay, ay. 5 first half points for Taylor Johnson. And with that crew out there on the floor offensively, what a great possession. Orth, nice pass for Johnson. Little move. Barker lost it, stolen away. Kerchek came up with it and got, oh, they're going to call her for a travel. She was getting rid of the ball as she fell to the floor, and Don Mulhern's going to be called for a technical foul. Kerchek called for the travel as she spun. She was throwing the ball away, and a technical foul called against the Wildcat bench. That was a long time coming. Don Mulhern hasn't been satisfied with the officiating the whole way, so Herbert Schmeier can pick one to shoot these free throws. He'll send Johnson over there to do it. Inside of a minute to go in this first half. Shot's no good for Johnson. She'll get another, and then it'll be Bethel ball. So 1 point on the trip to the free throw line for Johnson. And now it'll be Bethel ball. There's no doubt that Kerchek was losing her footing. She was falling. Maybe she was bumped off of her footing. But as she was doing that, she got rid of the basketball. A tough call for St. Kate's. As we get back to work with 47 seconds to go in the first half. Johnson drives into a triple team, and she traveled. There's the call. Good defense by the youngsters down low for St. Kate's. Even when you got 3 of them down there, it's Johnson, Amaker, and Brown. That's still probably a mismatch for a player with as much experience and as good in the post as Johnson is. So Johnson walks in and travels. Bethel turns it over, and Don is going to send Audra out there with those 2 fouls for this offensive possession. Johnson goes to her right. Now Audra has it. 15 seconds on the Wildcat shot clock. There goes Audra, driving, spinning, trying to feed it off for Benjamin, and it's a turnover. Don's going to have to send Brown back in there now for Audra with those 2 fouls. There she comes. 22 seconds left, and the shot clock obviously down, so Bethel can hold it for this last shot if they pleasure. 7 seconds now for Bethel. Now 6. Down low they go with it. Layup way off. Loose ball. Wildcats come up with it. 2 to go. And that's going to take us into the half as Amaker heaves it into the front court. 40-31 the score. We've played 20 minutes in St. Paul in what was a tough, physical, exciting first half. Stay tuned. John Herbrichmeyer wanted a foul on that last possession, so now you can sign up both coaches as not being pleased with the officiating. Don Mulhern down there is still giving the official an earful about the first half. And I tried to listen in, but we can't pick any of it up. We got Wild player profiles for you at halftime. It looks like the dance team is here as well. We'll carry that. Donica Cambryce will join us on our Wildcat player profile, and then Ashley Flossness as well. So, but before we do that, we'll check out the dance team. So a loaded halftime show for you here in St. Paul, and then after that, another exciting 20 minutes of basketball. And this one is still anybody's game. Right now, it's Bethel 40, St. Kate's 31. Keep it tuned right here. You are watching Wildcat basketball.
St. Catherine University Wildcat basketball student athletes. All right, we will be creating a county dedication to St. Kate's for their hard work, dedication to basketball. It is because of the knowledge and leadership of the program's past, Wildcat basketball program has such a bright future. Coaches Mulder, Care, and Davis would like to personally thank each of you, Wildcat alumni, here with us today. Invite them to all of the pop-up reception with the team to the varsity athletic on the following game. Once again, a big hand for Wildcat alumni. Thank you, Davis, for your dedication to St. Kate's remember. Once again, always the game. Now, ladies and gentlemen, performing for your halftime entertainment, your St. Catherine University Wildcat dancers. And being run back by ladies and gentlemen, St. Catherine University dance team.
All right, it's halftime at the Butler Center. As promised, our Wildcat player profiles for you. First up, we're going to hear from Donica Cambryce, the junior out of Minneapolis. This is today's Wildcat player profile. I'm joined by junior guard Donica Cambryce joining me. Excited to be joining us on our Wildcat player profile. And just heard before we started recording this that you got another set of MIAC and even a national award to throw into that loaded trophy cabinet of yours. It seems every week, every year, you're decorated with more conference awards. It's something to be very proud of. But let's go back a little further in time. You're a junior now. But how was it that you wound up playing here at St. Kate?
Reached out to me, and I came on campus for a visit. I really liked it. It was like small, felt like its own little environment, and I thought it was beautiful, and I really liked all the coaches. So, and I knew St. Kate's was a good school, so it was easy. Kind of made a decision. It was just a good fit for me. So
undoubtedly now, you take one look at any box score from any game, you're called upon to lead this team. Straight out, points, rebounds, defense, you have been called upon to lead this team. But at first, that's not always the case. Who were some of the mentors that you had on the team when you first got here that showed you the ropes of college basketball?
Lachey Holt really took me underneath her wing freshman year.
Another one that put up big numbers in her career. I think she's the program's all-time leading scorer, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she has a lot of like titles or like leader. Is like the leader in a lot of categories, and we're just really great friends. So she was like a huge mentor for me. I was really excited to play with her, even though it was just 1 year. Alexis Garcia, she's so tough, and she's really strong, and she's someone that definitely holds you accountable. So she's definitely made me a better player. That's not always fun when somebody wants to hold you accountable all the time. You got to be open to it. Do you ever take a moment now to realize I'm that person now? You look around this team, it's a young team, lots of newcomers, lots of incoming freshmen. Is that something that you think about, hey, I got to be the leader to these young players and show them what it means to play college ball? I definitely want to be a good example, because when I think back, I'm like, freshman year wasn't that long ago. But then I also do remember that freshman year wasn't that long ago, and I have a lot to learn from them, and they can teach me just as much as I can like teach them. Do you have a favorite moment from your time here at St. Kate's, on the court, off the court with the team? Sounds like we might need a top 2 or 3 list here. What are some of the moments that stand out? I'm just going to say probably making playoffs in the locker room my freshman year, and then off the court, probably St. Mary's dorm, just hanging out with basketball players and non-basketball players. I have a really nice group of friends. So. And this you really enjoy, I can tell I'm talking to you, you really enjoy this campus, the environment on campus here. You really take into it well. Let's talk about goals for the rest of the year. What are you working on personally? And then as a team, what are your goals the rest of the way out in 2018, 2019? I think personally, I just want to be a bigger threat from the three-point line. I want to play solid defense without fouling. And then as a team, I think we want a chance and we want to bid at the national tournament. So it's right there for you. Shooting the three ball. Is it? How do you, it's like I always think about shooting three-pointers or free throws as a lot like golfing. I can go to the driving range and hit perfect balls down the middle all day long. I'm guessing you could go up to the gym right now and you could shoot 50, 60% on your three-point shots. How do you take that into a game? What are you doing to try to accomplish those goals that we just talked about? I think confidence and just telling myself shooters got to shoot. So even if it's not going in, just believing that you're going to make the next one. Well, believe it or not, one of your mentors there, your leading scorer in program history, Lachey Holt, she didn't make all of them either, right? There were a few games where that shooter's got to shoot mentality kicked in, where you're 1 for 12, and before you know it, at the end of the game, you're 11 for 20 or something like that. So, get you out of here in this one. Basketball-wise, I don't know how much you watch the pro game, the college game. What are some of the players that you watch and you think, I'm a fan of that? I see a little bit of my game in that player. I love Maya Moore from Minnesota Lynx. I watched her when she was at UConn, so she's definitely like a role model. Unbelievable career, and definitely the right kind of player to model your career after, no doubt about that. This is Donica Cambryce, one of the leaders on this year's team, and this has been today's Wildcat Player Pro. This is today's Wildcat Player More guard out of Britton, South Dakota. This is Ashley Fostis joining us today on our Wildcat player profile. Ashley, great to see you. Great to have a chance to get to know more about you. I guess the first question is, I look at this roster, it's not the most geographically diverse roster. How did you wind up growing up up there in South Dakota, and how did you wind up playing your collegiate basketball in St. Paul?
I knew I wanted to go to a school that has occupational therapy, and I also wanted to play basketball. So just doing some research, the closest schools to me were UND and USD, which I'm not a huge fan of either of those schools, I guess. So I guess that's kind of how I ended up at St. Kate's, kind of the best of both worlds.
We can turn your whole profile into bashing those two schools if you like. Actually, no, we'll stick with the positives. We'll stick with St. Kate's. So really, St. Kate's offered you a perfect blend of what you hope to do professionally, and then also gave you this opportunity athletically as well. So it sounds like it was a pretty easy decision.
Right.
Let's talk about, where do you fit in on this year's team? How do you see your role in the 2018-2019 Wildcat basketball team?
I personally see myself just going out there and doing the best I can to contribute to the team, whether it be on offense or getting a stop on defense.
A big hustle play.
Hustle plays.
What are you trying to improve on? Everybody sets goals. Everybody has a mental picture of where they want to get better, where they want to develop as the season goes along. What is it for you?
I would say just having more confidence on offense and driving to the basket, and also just helping pick up my other teammates while I'm on the bench, or motivating others.
It is something, though, isn't it, that when you take that jump from high school sports, where you're probably the best player on the floor most nights, you jump into college basketball. It's a different animal, and it takes some time to find that confidence to assert yourself offensively, doesn't it?
Right.
And it's always a work in progress. What are some of the players that you enjoy watching? I don't know if you find yourself, if you're just a player or a fan, whether it be at the college level, the pro level, the men's game, the women's game. Who are some of the players that you watch and you go, I'd pay money to watch that player? Who are some of the players that you enjoy watching and try to pull something from their game and put it into the Ashley Fostis game?
One of my favorite players is just Stephen Curry. He's just fun to watch because he's not cocky while he plays, but he's obviously one of the best players in the league, and he just goes out there and does his thing with confidence and pushes his other teammates to do the same.
Do you have a favorite basketball moment from your career? A game that stands out, or a moment, a big shot, a hustle play?
Last year, actually, one of my favorite moments was after the Augsburg game, because we were able to make it to playoffs after that game. It was just a really cool moment to celebrate with the team, something I'll never forget.
It's funny, isn't it? Because you come into college sports and you think those memories are going to be made on the floor, but oftentimes it's those moments in the bus or in the locker room after a big win. What team goals? What are your team goals? What are your personal goals for the rest of the season? We still have a lot of season left ahead of us.
Right.
What are the goals going forward?
I think as a team goal, we can all agree that we'd like to make it to playoffs again. That's a pretty huge deal, and make it past that first round. Individually, just keep working on my stats and improving my field goal percentages and
efficiency.
Yeah, right.
Get you out of here on this one. I'll put you on the spot for this last one. You said playoffs. This team will make the playoffs and go past the first round if they fill in the blank.
It's a tough one. If we just got to keep working on getting those 50-50 balls, keep one game at a time, go into every game thinking anyone could win that game. Just continue working hard.
From Britton, South Dakota, she is Ashley Fostis, and this has been today's Wildcat Player Profile. Profile. I'm joined by your guard, Danica.
good guy, Glenn Thompson. Although there was definitely some pregame attitude being thrown at yours truly by our hardworking engineer, but he came around and pulled things together so we could have a great show for you here today. Just some good jokes. Now I'm getting some looks over here, but that's all right. I'm used to that. It's 40-31 Bethel with the lead as we welcome you back in. What an exciting first half. I just thought it was great. It was physical. It was fast. There was good scoring. I think both coaches would like to extend a do-over or a mulligan to the officiating crews, but that's a story for another day. We got 20 minutes of basketball to go. Reminder, these two teams played back on the 5th of January, and Bethel won that game 64-55, so we're on pace to have a whole lot more scoring than that game had. Bethel on the season shoots 46% from the floor, Wildcats 38%, and we are back to work. Barker setting up shop for the Royals. Original starting fives back out there for both teams. Pearson for Schwartz, now swung back around. Driving and shooting and scoring is Hannah Johnson, and she draws the foul. Bethel opens up the second half with a chance at a three-point play. It's the third foul against Radford, and it sends Johnson to the free throw line. Already with 9 points. The next one will put her in double digits. She does just that. So Johnson's got 10. It's 43-31. There's no doubt that the Wildcats right now find themselves in a danger zone. They cannot afford to fall much further behind in this second half. Audra Clark to the basket. Layup no good. Orth tips the rebound into the corner. And it's Bethel ball. It was chased down by Hannah Johnson, and I think she may have thrown it off of one of the Wildcat players in that corner. Wildcats, the real difference in this game was the rebounding totals. The Wildcats gave up 5 boards to Bethel, who had 20 of them. Wanted to make sure to give a shout out to Karen Benjamin. She's watching the game today from Davenport, Iowa, and enjoying it. Hopefully enjoying the weekend as well. WildcatsBooth@gmail.com if you want to drop us a note. As stepping back and scoring is McKenna Pearson. And if you're a Wildcat fan, Pearson now with 13, you have officially entered the I don't know, for lack of a better word, we'll call it the danger zone, because it's 45-31. You're 14 down against a team that twice in the last month has scored 100 points in a game. Cambry's three-pointer, ooh, big one, needed it. Cambry's with 6 points. Cambry's struggled mightily with her shot in the first half. Cambry's was one of her first 6, now 2 of 7. Three-pointer on the way for Bethel, and they get one of their own. Pearson knocks it down. Pearson has 16 points and a timeout taken on the floor. So it seems every time the Wildcats get a three-pointer, Bethel comes right back down to the other side of the floor and gets one of their own. Let's break with the players. It's our first break of the second half, and you're listening to Wildcat Basketball.
As a family-owned and operated business since 1971, Goodmanson Construction continues to develop concrete relationships with their commercial and residential customers throughout the upper Midwest. Questions or concerns about concrete, asphalt, and the company's installation process, check out their website at goodmansonconstruction.com. Thank you, Goodmanson Construction.
Out of the timeout, a Bethel foul in the backcourt as we welcome you back in. This is the first foul of the second half against the Royals, and the second of the game for Haley Parker. So a fresh shot clock for St. Kate's. Got to get Cam Bryce going. The Wildcats down by 14. Clark with the basketball, directing traffic. Cam Bryce has it. Gets bumped. Cam Bryce off of the elbow, knocked it down, big shot. Cam Bryce has 5 second half points for the Wildcats, who trail by a dozen. Barker slams on the brakes. Now Pearson against Radford, steps back and shot short, loose ball. Clark comes up with a rebound. Jackie's got her hands full over there with Pearson, no question about it. Down low, Radford, one dribble, and draws the foul. Jackie to the free throw line, and Pearson gives the basketball a good stiff dribble towards the ground. She was frustrated. It's the third foul against Pearson, and it sends Radford to the free throw line. We're on the season. Jackie shooting 61%. On the season, Jackie averaging 6.5 points per game, 7 boards per contest as well, but shooting just 29% from the floor. Radford misfires on her first, as Pearson will head to the bench with the 3 fouls. Tessa Anderson will come in to relieve her, and one more free throw upcoming for Jackie. And she missed them both. Radford right now, don't think the confidence is as high as it's ever been on the offensive end of the floor. Bethel the other way, driving baseline. Anderson kicks it outside. One more pass. Williams to Barker, down low. Anderson had it stolen away by Jackie, and I think they're going to call a foul against Bethel. They are. Tate Anderson is called for her 3rd foul. So number 3 called for her 3rd foul. And it's the 3rd of the 3rd quarter for Bethel. Wildcats down by 12. Turnovers have really kept the Wildcats in this game. Bethel's turned the ball over 15 times. The Wildcats have gotten a dozen points off of those turnovers. (48-36) the score. Cam Bryce has been the hot hand in the second half for St. Kate's. Nifty moves. Cam Bryce shot, got it. Cam Bryce has 10 points. And so much like in years past, Lachey Holt, Cam Bryce can put up an iffy first half and then score 25 on you. And great defense in the backcourt there for Donica. Bethel will keep the ball, but it was swatted out of bounds, deflected by Cam Bryce. Don Mulhern wants his team to pressure the ball. They'll do that. Clark forced the turnover to Johnson. Back to Clark. Easy layup. Great defense. Clark has 13 points. Johnson the assist. Now Bethel the other way, leading just by 8. Johnson guarded by Orth, goes by her on the dribble, runs over Johnson. Offensive foul. Great defense. And the foul against Johnson is her 2nd. And the Wildcats have found some momentum for the first time on this Saturday. And John Herbrichsmeyer will take a timeout. First time that the Wildcats defensively and offensively have found some momentum and sustained it. Timeout on the floor, 6:33 to go in the 3rd quarter.
A proud sponsor of Wildcat Athletics since all the way back in 1971, the Universal Athletic Team has been passionate about fueling the dreams of athletes, and they put all their know-how into doing just that. By servicing and selling athletic gear to local athletes, high schools, and colleges, Universal Athletic has dedicated its heart and soul to the support of sports, fitness, and health programs in schools and communities.
Well, the Wildcats did a little bit of everything there in those last minute or so of game clock. Got to the free throw line, forced some turnovers, got their superstar Cam Bryce going, and there was and drew an offensive foul as well. So lots for St. Kate's to feel good about as Bethel takes the timeout. John Herbrichsmeyer gives his team a chance to collect themselves with 6:33 left here in the 3rd quarter. And John Herbrichsmeyer just gave his clipboard a big old spikeroo over there. So he was none too pleased with the way his team came out playing in this second half. Man, you got to love that as a player when you look over there at the other team's coach and he's spiking his clipboard. Whether it would be Don Mulhern or John Herbrichsmeyer, that's just got to feel good. Clark splitting the defense, lost the ball, loose ball. Cam Bryce jumps in, and a jump ball is going to be called. And the Wildcats have the arrow, so they'll keep it. So they're going to reset the shot clock to 14 seconds, I think I heard. There it is, 14 seconds on the shot clock, 6:17 on the game clock with here in the third quarter. Radford gives the ball a slap, and we'll get back to work. Comes in for Orth. Orth, 2 dribbles with the right hand. Shot on the way. Might have been blocked. Rebound by Schwartz. Bethel up by 8 with the basketball. It's going to take some defense to pull St. Kate's back into this thing. Williams thought about a 3. Now she drives with it. As Cambryce deflects the pass and steals it away. Cambryce into the front court. Layup short. Rebound Johnson. Anderson back for Johnson. Poked away by Radford. Clark was there. Swatted it to Cambryce. So the Wildcats have the ball. 5:37 left in the third quarter. Radford brings it to the front court. She looks to create. Johnson three-pointer. In and out. Good looking shot by Johnson, but it rattled in and out. Rebound for Bethel and Haley Barker. Barker averages 4 boards a game. Check out 3 rebounds a game, but she's a good rebounding guard. Nice pass down low. Schwartz fouled and will shoot 2. A foul against Cambryce is her 3rd, and it sends Bethel to the free throw line. It's the 2nd foul of this third quarter against St. Kate's. Schwartz on the season, 58% from the free throw line. Knocks down her first. She's got 7 points, and both teams are going to go into their bench. Cambryce to the bench. Benjamin in for the first and the second half. And Cragen will come in for the Royals and give Bella Williams a breather. Good trip to the line for Schwartz. She has 8 points. The Bethel lead is back to double digits, 50-40. Radford for Johnson. Now Clark puts her head down, drives, and they'll say no shot. Prior to the shot, a foul is going to be called on Schwartz. Now check that. The foul is going to go against Barker. The 3rd foul against Barker, the 5th against Bethel. That means bonus for St. Kate's for the next 4 minutes and 55 seconds. And it means Audra Clark goes to the free throw line, where she's been very good this afternoon and this season. This fires on her first. That's her first miss in 6 tries. Clark 74% from the free throw line on the season. And she goes 1 of 2. 14 points for Clark. And I mentioned bonus the rest of the third quarter for St. Kate's. Just 2 fouls against the Wildcats on the big board here in the third quarter. Williams back in off of the Bethel bench. And Barker with the 3 fouls will grab a seat. Nessa Anderson for Williams, now into the front court. Cragen. Pretty heavy on the bench players here for Bethel, but they've still got the very experienced front court. But Schwartz comes up short. Good Wildcat defense and strong rebounding by Clark. Tried to draw that contact from Schwartz, didn't get it. Nifty pass down low. Benjamin layup off. Schwartz the rebound. Great pass by Clark. Right in rhythm for Benjamin, but she wasn't able to finish it off. Loose ball. Radford tipped it back for Johnson. The Wildcats are playing some defense. Boy, if the Wildcats could just knock down some open shots, they would really be in business on this Saturday afternoon. Clark driving, layup, too strong. Orth rebound and got fouled from behind. Let's see if they want to call this on. Johnson and Schwartz were there. They're going to call the foul against Elizabeth Schwartz, the sophomore. Called for her first foul, and it means 2 free throws for Orth. Orth's second trip to the free throw line this afternoon. She's 1 of 2. Now 1 for 3. Orth 1 for 4 on the game from the floor. Does have 5 rebounds. And on the season shoots 57% from the free throw line. The freshman makes good on her second. 4 points for Orth. And those post players, Benjamin and Orth, not only are they expected to score for this team, but with Schwartz and Johnson in that front court and Tate Anderson as well, there's a pretty big responsibility defensively as well. 9-point lead for Bethel. Wildcats have played great defense at times in this third quarter. Johnson for Anderson. Now Williams lines up a three-pointer, in and out just as Johnson's was on the other side. But Williams got her own rebound. Shot there blocked, and it'll be Bethel basketball. Good job by Isaacson to reach in there and block that one. Don wants a timeout. He'll gets it. Let's take one with the Wildcats. 3:44 to go in the third quarter. Cats down by 9. You're listening to St. Kate's basketball.
Transporting Wildcat athletes is in the capable hands of Northfield Lines Incorporated, dedicated to ensuring that your travel experience is a positive one. Call to request a quote or to make a reservation at 888-670-8068 or visit their website at northfieldlines.com. Twin Cities Orthopedics offers a full spectrum of orthopedic care to individuals suffering sports-related problems and injuries. Their doctors are team physicians for St. Catherine's University as well as Augsburg University, Hamline University, and others around the state of Minnesota. Visit tcomn.com and thank you to Twin Cities Orthopedics.
Cambryce on the bench with 4 fouls, so the Wildcats will have to rely on Clark, Benjamin, Orth, and the three-point shooters to get things done here, down by 9 for now. See how long Don can leave Cambryce on that bench as the shot for Johnson, no good. Loose ball. Amaker had it. Clark had it, and it was last touched by Clark, so it'll be Bethel's ball. So right now you've got Isaacson, Amaker, Benjamin, Clark, and Fosness out there for St. Kate's. Check that, it's Brown out there defending right now, not Fosness. The youngster Brown instead. Wildcats just daring Williams to shoot the three, right? For now she passes. 3 on the way, and a foul's going to be called. It was Brown closing out on McKenna Pearson, who's back in with those 3 fouls and gets right back to what she does best, shooting the three-point shot. Draws the foul, third against St. Kate's in the third quarter, first against the freshman Brown. And there goes Pearson to the free throw line. Having a big day scoring the basketball for the Royals. Now 17 points for the sophomore Pearson. Does not play like a underclassman on the offensive side of the court. Radford and Venegas are going to come in for Brown and Clark. Hadn't seen Chloe Venegas on this homestand, but she's in for the first time. Third shot no good for Pearson, so she goes 2 of 3. Bethel comes up with a rebound, and they'll have a fresh shot clock to work with, so they can really make this possession hurt. Down low, Schwartz against Radford. Radford poked it away. Jump ball called. Bethel will keep it. They have the possession arrow, leading by 11. Grace Amaker will head out. Orth will come in. Floating pass down low, and Orth's going to be called for the foul as she got all tangled up with Schwartz, trying to pull that pass away. So Orth called for her first foul, 4th against St. Kate's in this third quarter. And again, you still got Cambryce over there with 4 fouls on the Wildcat bench. Pearson, three-pointer, short. Rebound, Isaacson, and a foul is going to be called against Bethel. The foul against Johnson as she was racing for that basketball. Good high effort play by Lauren Isaacson, and it'll result in free throws. The foul against Johnson, I've got it as her third. It is her third. And a chance for the Wildcats to cut into the Bethel lead from the free throw line. Isaacson playing in her 15th game this season. 14 of them off of the bench. She's got a nice touch, though, shooting the ball. Second shot, too strong. Battle for the board. Wildcats got it. Orth was trapped, but somehow squiggled out of there and got the ball to Venegas. So far 1 point on this possession for St. Kate's. Let's see if they can capitalize on this opportunity. Bethel has kept them at arm's length pretty much all game long. Isaacson, short jumper, in and out. Loose ball. Johnson's got it, and I think they call it a jump ball. Boy, another high-effort play from Isaacson, who's giving Don Mullern great minutes off of the bench. It is a jump ball. Wildcats will keep it. John Herbert Schmeier didn't like the call of a jump ball there. For my eye, it looked like he might have had a case, but they'll play on. Radford's shot's blocked. Loose ball. Chased down by Schwartz. Going the other way with it. Bethel. Anderson. Guarded by Isaacson. Up top, Schwartz. Not a threat to shoot the three. Pearson is. Her three is on the way, and it's good. 21 points for Pearson, and the lead is back to 13. Radford in transition. Orth drives, got to the rack, had it poked away and drew the foul. 2 shots coming up for Sam Orth. 4th foul against Pearson. So now Pearson and Cam Bryce for Bethel and St. Kate's respectively, playing with 4 fouls. And 2 shots coming up for Orth. Orth goes 1 of 2, and Tessa Anderson has the board for Bethel. She pushes the pace, going the other way. Pearson will play out with those 4 fouls. Tate Anderson drives right at Benjamin, goes off of the window and scores. Anderson with 6 points, and the Wildcats are having a tough time closing out this 3rd quarter. This deficit, their biggest of the afternoon. 14-point Bethel lead. Radford for Benjamin. Ooh. And they're going to call a foul. This one's, though, is going to go against St. Kate's as Benjamin came curling around to try to catch that pass from Radford. So the 3rd foul against Benjamin, 5th against St. Kate's in the 3rd quarter, means that McKenna Pearson can head down to the free throw line. What a good game Pearson's had. 7 of 13 from the floor, 5 of 7 shooting the 3, and 2 of 3 from the free throw line. Now 2 of 4. So those 21 points coming on 5 for 7 shooting the 3 ball. Clark comes in for Radford. And they're going to call Clark for a lane infraction. Didn't matter. The shot went in, but Audra was falling all over Pearson's, so no need to call it because she made the shot. But Pearson would have gotten a mulligan if she needed it. 22 points for Pearson. 3 of 5 from the free throw line now. And Don Herbert Schmeier will call Tate Anderson back over to the bench. Williams back in. Venegas has it now. Now Isaacson, Clark. Spinning, pulls up her dribble, spins again, left-handed shot is a beauty. Clark hits her mark, has 16 points, and Don Mulhern takes a timeout. Wildcats cut the lead back to 13. 54 seconds left in the 3rd quarter, and you're listening to Wildcat basketball.
For exceptional service and selection, look no further than Fury Motors in St. Paul. They're the #1 family-owned dealer to buy a Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram since all the way back in 1963. So much to choose from, and they make the shopping process easy. Also offering genuine service and financing. Visit stpaul.furymotors.com for more information.
Big thanks to all the sponsors of Wildcat Athletics. They make these broadcasts possible. They help support the student-athlete experience as well in their time here in St. Paul. 58-45 your score. Bethel on top. Matt Nelson welcoming you back into the Butler Center alongside of engineer Glenn Thompson. Williams goes to the left side. Couple dribbles there. Now back up top for Tessa Anderson. Reagan not interested in shooting. Drives it in. Now it's Williams around a screen. Driving baseline. Tried to find Schwartz. Cragen is there to collect the loose ball. Anderson goes to her right. Ran into Benjamin, who blocked the shot. 3 seconds on the shot clock. Now 2. It's out of bounds. Last touch by St. Kate's. So Bethel will have 2 seconds to get a shot off here with 26 seconds left in the third quarter. Pass comes in. Anderson, one dribble. Long two-pointer. Short. Rebound Bethel and a foul called. One of the more seldom used players this afternoon, Megan Bagel, 5'10" freshman out of Rochester, comes in to play these closing minutes of the third quarter and is going to get herself a couple of shots at the free throw line. The foul against Orth is her second, so 2 shots for Bethel here with 21 seconds to go in the third period. First shot well short for Bagel. And second shot's no good. So Bethel comes up empty-handed. Wildcats can hold it for the last shot of the third period if they want it. Isaacson trapped. Got it for Clark. Good place to go with it. Clark drives. Left hand. Layup short. Rebound Schwartz. Bethel ball. 6 seconds to go in the third quarter. Anderson into the front court. Got by Venegas. Drives to the hole. And an offensive foul is going to be called. Anderson on the charge. Isaacson, another great play. Isaacson might not be filling up the scoring sheet, but she has been very good and tough off of that Wildcat bench. She draws the foul against Anderson, her second on the charge. 1 second to go, and the Wildcats will just take it right into the fourth quarter. We've played 30 minutes from St. Paul, 10 more to go. It's Bethel 58, St. Kate's 45, and you're listening to Wildcat basketball from St. Paul.
Peoples Electric Company is your full-service electrical contractor, one of the Upper Midwest's largest. From building and process automation, communications, construction services, energy savings, testing, and maintenance. Founded in 1922 by William F. Lindbergh and located in St. Paul, find out more information on Peoples Electric Company at www.peoplesco.com. Wildcat Athletics is proudly supported by the Ryan Company, the Hickey family, U.S. Bank, the Loeffler Companies, Cone U.S., and the Opus Group. Wildcat supporters this season also include Shapco Printing, Sodexo, Terra General Contractors, the O'Neill Group, ProTech Designs, and Floors by Becker.
Bringing back into St. Paul, Matt Nelson alongside of engineer Glenn Thompson. Wildcats trail Bethel 58-45. These two teams played back in early January. Bethel won that game in Arden Hills 64-55. Mentioned Bethel twice this year has gone over 100 points. So to hold them to 58 through 3 quarters is pretty good work defensively. Bethel coming off of a loss on Thursday night at St. Ben's. Close one, 81-78, the final score in that game. Cam Bryce back out there playing with the 4 fouls. Got a little bump on Pearson, who also has 4 fouls, but no whistle. Pearson, three-pointer, cleared loose on a screen, but a rare miss for 3 for Pearson. Clark into the front court. Cam Bryce picks up her dribble. Got it to Jackie. Layup, no good. Jackie had her own rebound, got tied up by Johnson. It's a jump ball called with 9:35 left in the game, and the Wildcats will keep it. They have the possession arrow. I imagine with the 4 fouls, St. Kate's is going to try to get the most they can out of Cam Bryce offensively, so long as she's eligible with the 4 fouls. Clark spinning, kicking back outside for Johnson. Now Clark, 17 seconds left for the Wildcats offensively. Clark for Johnson. Orth. Bradford has it. Nothing doing. Cam Bryce floating pass down low from Clark. and Cambryce can't reel it in. It's a turnover. Good defense by Bethel. Those 100-point games kind of get everyone thinking that you're just a team that plays offense, offense, offense. But John Herbrick-Schmeier's team, they can play some defense, especially in transition. No question about that. And that time you saw him playing it in the half court as well. Pearson with Orth in those long arms defending the three-point shooter. Tate Anderson drives. Her shot short. Rebound Orth. Really good defensive possession for Orth. Played the defense, got the rebound. Clark drives, kicks. Jumper from Cambryce off of the back end of the iron. Rebound Johnson. Clark picked her pocket, but it's out of bounds. Bethel ball. And John Herbrick-Schmeier pleading with his Royals. He says, please move the basketball. Williams into the front court. Kicks corner. Johnson will let loose on a three-pointer. Air ball. Rebound Schwartz and a putback. 10 points for Schwartz. And the Wildcats trail by their biggest deficit of the afternoon, 15 points. Johnson layup off. And, oh, good heavens, the jump ball's going to be called. Jump ball's going to be called, and Bethel has the arrow. It looked like Johnson had that ball. Orth went running by her, and they called a jump ball. Either way, the same team that would have had the ball is going to have it. So Bethel ball. Wildcats pressure in the backcourt. Bethel handled it, but nearly threw it away. Schwartz was able to chase it down into the corner. Johnson got too deep under the basket, and her layup was short. 8 minutes to go. The Cats down by 15. Orth, layup and one. Big bucket. As Orth will go to the free throw line. Orth has 7 points and can cut the lead down to a dozen. I'm going to write that down, though. Bethel up by 15 with 8 to go. Wildcats, it would take a heck of a comeback to win this thing. Orth has 8. 60-48, the new score in St. Paul. Anderson for Johnson. She'll drive at Radford and score. Mismatch there, and John Herbrick-Schmeier wants a timeout. Johnson closing in on that season average of 16 a game. She's got 12, and the lead is 14. You're listening to Wildcat Basketball.
As a family-owned and operated business since 1971, Goodmanson Construction continues to develop concrete relationships with their commercial and residential customers throughout the upper Midwest. Questions or concerns about concrete, asphalt, and the company's installation process, check out their website at goodmansonconstruction.com. Thank you, Goodmanson Construction. A proud sponsor of Wildcat Athletics since all the way back in 1971, the Universal Athletic Team has been passionate about fueling the dreams of athletes, and they put all their know-how into doing just that. By servicing and selling athletic gear to local athletes, high schools, and colleges, Universal Athletic has dedicated its heart and soul to the support of sports, fitness, and health programs in schools and communities.
Benjamin out of the timeout. Couldn't get the roll, but Cambryce comes up with a loose ball and draws the foul as we welcome you back into St. Paul with the Wildcats down by 14, 7:39 to go. And the fifth foul, I believe. No, that's now the fourth against Pearson. My mistake. I had her at 4 fouls. That now is her fourth for Pearson. So now Pearson for Bethel and Cambryce for St. Kate's playing with the 4 fouls. Cragen will come in for Pearson. Wildcats get a fresh shot clock. And Radford off of the window, no good. Cambryce rebound, put back, scoring. Cambryce has a dozen. Radford now 0 for 7 from the floor on the game, but Cambryce saves the day with the offensive rebound and the score. Bethel will keep it as it's deflected out of bounds. Bethel down by 12. St. Kate's hanging in there, still within striking distance, but are going to have to make their move sooner or later. Still just 7 minutes to go in this game. Three-pointer on the way. Anderson. Wildcats can't give up too many of those. Nice board for Cambrace. And Johnson's, they're going to call an offensive foul against Johnson. Anderson stepped in, took the charge. I think where they caught Johnson, she threw that elbow up at the last second, and that's where they called the foul. And the foul against Johnson is the first against St. Kate's in the fourth quarter. Three-pointer on the way for Tessa Anderson. Again, the Wildcats can't give up too many of those right now at this stage of the game. Clark in transition. Bradford. Now Clark. Johnson, pump fake, goes to her right. Bradford, one dribble. Clark. Oh, this would be a big one. Three! Clark has 19 points, and we've got a timeout on the floor. Clark steps way back and knocks one down. Bethel 62, St. Kate's 53. It's a 9-point game. You're listening to Wildcat Basketball.
Athletes is in the capable hands of Northfield Lines Incorporated, dedicated to ensuring that your travel experience is a positive one. Call to request a quote or to make a reservation at 888-670-8068 or visit their website at northfieldlines.com. Twin Cities Orthopedics offers a full spectrum of orthopedic care to individuals suffering sports-related problems and injuries. Their doctors are team physicians for St. Catherine's University as well as Augsburg University, Hamlin University, and others around the state of Minnesota. Visit tcomn.com and thank you to Twin Cities Orthopedics.
Big shot by Audra Clark has reeled the Wildcats to within 9, 62-53 the score. Matt Nelson with you, welcoming you back into St. Paul. And this has been a game where, especially in the second half, at times, Bethel's led by as many as 15. It just didn't really feel like the Wildcats could sustain any kind of push. 6:42 to go, and here they are within single digits. I mean, they're only down by 9, but Bethel has the basketball. Cambrace has 4 fouls. Keep your eyes on that. And Clark, once again, has carried the Wildcats. 6 boards, 19 points, and 3 assists. Wildcats need some stops. And some more of those three-pointers from Clark wouldn't hurt either. Pass goes down low. It's Schwartz against Benjamin. Schwartz got around her and scored a dozen points for Elizabeth Schwartz. That's well ahead of her season average of 7.5 a game. She's played a critical role today for Bethel. Clark comes down with it, and they're going to call a block against Bethel, against Cragen. That is Tate Anderson's 4th foul. 6:10 to go. Fresh shot clock for St. Kate's. 3rd foul against Bethel here in the 4th quarter. Johnson and Isaacson and Amaker, the best three-point shooters for St. Kate's. There's Johnson. Three-pointer short. Oh, Cambrace came up with the offensive board. Nicely done by Donica. Clark for Johnson. Cambrace in the post. Draws a crowd. Cambrace going to work and scoring. Donica Cambrace has 14 points, matching her total from Thursday night. Back to a 9-point Bethel lead. Parker tried to get Johnson to commit the foul. Johnson did well to peel off of her. Now Benjamin playing Barker on a switch. Mismatch. Down low. Schwartz against Johnson. Mismatch big time. And Schwartz scores very easily. Johnson no chance against Schwartz, the more experienced post player. Bethel by 11. Cambrace slams on the brakes. 3 on the way. Clark no good, and rebound Schwartz. So she's having a big 4th quarter. In transition, Anderson, the pass and the score. That is Baldwin. First look at Sydney Baldwin off of the bench in this game, and she comes off of the bench and scores. 13-point Bethel lead. Benjamin down low, one-on-one, leaning in and drawing the foul. Benjamin will get 2 free throws for efforts. Second foul against Elizabeth Schwartz. So Benjamin, the freshman out of Walker, going to the free throw line. Benjamin 3 and 9 from the floor on the game, 2 of 3 so far from the free throw line. Makes her first. Next one can put her into double digits for the 3rd straight game. Thompson and Pearson back in. Schwartz and Anderson to the bench. Schwartz has been so good in this game for Bethel. One more for Benjamin. 4:46 left in the game. And Benjamin misfires on her second. The 1 for 2 for Benjamin. Barker into the front court. She creates nicely for Pearson. Now Johnson to the left side. Gets a screen. Baldwin, Pearson. And now Barker thought about a 3, instead drives. Kicks. 3-pointer on the way. Off of the front iron. And a foul's going to be called against Orth. She bumped Barker going for the rebound after the miss by, pardon me, I've been saying Baldwin. Blandon. Sydney Blandon, the player off of the Bethel bench who misfired on that last 3. Blandon coming off of that bench, the freshman from Farmington. Orth to the bench with her 3rd foul. Jenkins in for the first time. 4:24 to go. Down low. Thompson against Jenkins, and Jenkins holds up. Nicely done by a more seldom used player going against an all MIAC caliber player. Cam Bryce for Jenkins. Corner, 3-pointer on the way. Wildcats needed it and got it. Grace Amaker comes off of the bench and makes the 3-pointer. Cuts the Bethel lead to 10. Johnson, Amaker, and Isaacson, the Wildcats' best bet, shooting that 3 ball. 3:51 to go. Pearson down low against Jenkins. Put a nice move on her, but her shot's short. So twice now Jenkins has held up defensively, which is pretty good work. Orth is catching her breath, but I don't think it'll be too long before you get Benjamin or Orth back out there. .343 to go. And again, the Wildcats, they need to, Bethel will be happy to trade you baskets for the next 3:42. You got to get on a run here. Into the front court, Clark, nice move, has numbers, finds Benjamin, easy score. Clark creates for Benjamin, who has 11 points in the game. She's scored in double digits now 3 straight games, and the Wildcats have drawn to within 7. Close enough to make Bethel sweat. Barker into a triple team, kicks outside, 3-pointer on the way. Anderson offline, offensive rebound, Pearson. Oh, the Wildcats gave up a big offensive board on that miss. Buys Bethel 30 more seconds. Down low, foul. Amaker called for the foul. The 3rd against St. Kate's. So 30 more seconds for Bethel. 3rd foul against St. Kate's, first for Amaker. And now another foul is going to be called against St. Kate's. And another against Amaker. Sounded like she held the player she was defending, Anderson, coming around a screen. 4th foul against St. Kate's in the 4th quarter. Now both teams with 4. 2:56 to go. Floating pass down low and a layup for Tate Anderson. 8 points for Anderson, 9-point lead for Bethel. And that one's going to be kicked by Barker. This game right now awfully close to resembling the game in Arden Hills back in January 5th. Remember, Wildcats were close late in the 4th quarter in that one too, before Bethel won by 9, and right now they lead by 9 with 2:43 to go. So a little bit of history repeating itself. Recent history, although. Clark picks up her dribble, tried to get it to Orth. It's bobbled around and last touched by Orth as it falls out of bounds. Turnover for St. Kate's. And now their adversary is as much the clock on the scoreboard as it is the Bethel Royals. Walking it in and scoring is Barker. Big bucket for Haley Barker. 72-61 Bethel lead. Now 3 on the way. Too strong for St. Kate's. Barker the rebound. Into the front court. Tate Anderson, extra pass and an easy shot for Tessa Anderson. Unguarded. She has 9 points. 1:56 to go. Bethel now pulling away. And another turnover. This one's gotten away from St. Kate's as Cambry's just fouled out. So Cambry's turns it over and fouls out of the game. Cambry's fouls out with a $1:45 left in the game. Her day is done with 14 points. And it will send Bethel to the free throw line. Pretty much they've got a chance to put this thing on ice. Bethel today from the free throw line 15 of 25. And she's got 2 shots upcoming. So McKenna Pearson went running in there to grab the rebound and put it back in. Nothing doing. The first shot no good. 1 more to go. And now the second shot coming up. And that one is good. Into the front court. Benjamin got behind the defense and got fouled. So Katie's going to go to the free throw line for 2 shots. On the day, both teams shooting about 60% from the free throw line. Bethel 61%, St. Kate's 60%. Bethel 31% shooting the 3, but they've shot a lot more of them than St. Kate's, who shot 36%. Bethel 45% from the floor. That's right on the dot of their season average. The Wildcats 36%, just about what they shoot, 38% on the season. That was the 5th foul against Tate Anderson. So Anderson out for the Royals. She fouls out with 1:41 left in the game, and her 8 points. 2 shots coming up for Benjamin. And I don't know what's going on here. The players twice now have forgotten that there's 2 shots coming up. That was the first for Benjamin. She misfires. Benjamin hasn't had a great day at the free throw line now. She's just 3 of 7, but she can even that up to 50% with this next one, and does that. She goes 4 of 8. McKenna Pearson, though, for Bethel has been the story today. 22 points on 5 of 8 shooting the 3. She has 5 of Bethel's 6 3-pointers. Tessa Anderson had the other on 4 tries. Right now, Bethel by 13 with 90 seconds to go. For the Wildcats, they had a tough time getting points outside of Cambry's, Clark, and Benjamin. Those 3 have done the bulk of the damage here. Rebound Schwartz. That's Johnson down low. She spins and she scores now. It's all Bethel at this point. 14 points for Johnson, who's got 14 points and 12 boards, another double-double, which is just another day at the office for Hannah Johnson. She averages a double-double. And a foul against Clark here late, the 3rd foul against Audra. And this was a hard-fought game, but in the end, Bethel was able to just hold off St. Kate's. Yeah, those 3 players I mentioned have 36 of the 62 points for St. Kate's. First free throw good for Johnson. She's going to end up right at her season average. The next one will put her at 16 points, which is her season average, and she's got the 13 rebounds. She averages 10 of those a game. 16 points for Johnson. And a minute to go, and another turnover. Cragen collects, and an easy bucket for the Royals. Barker scores. Easiest bucket she'll have this season. It's 81-62. And the final score isn't going to tell the total story of this game, but credit Bethel. Even halfway through that third quarter when the Wildcats drew that offensive foul, made that three, had that big push of momentum, Bethel came right out of the timeout and put more distance between them and the Wildcats. Barker again. 6 points for Barker, and the lead is 21 for the Royals. They ran away and hit in this fourth quarter. Obviously, this is their biggest lead of the ball game. Loose ball, Schwartz comes up with that. And down low, it is McKenna Pearson adding to her total. She now has 24 points in the game, and the Wildcats going to go ahead and pull out the white flag, I would think, and dribble this one out. No, instead Benjamin will shoot the long two, and that is going to be the final buzzer on this one. 85-62, your final score. Royals win behind another double-double from Hannah Johnson. Got a big day out of Elizabeth Schwartz. And McKenna Pearson, 24 points on 5 3-pointers. Sees Bethel and John Herbrick-Schmeier improve their overall record to 15-6. They're now 9-5 in MIAC play. For the Wildcats, they fall now through 21 games to 9-12 overall, 6-8 in the MIAC. They're going to need 3 wins to have a realistic shot at the postseason, I'm thinking. Last year's season they made it in with 8, but that was kind of an uncharacteristic year. Wildcats fall to 6-8 overall. They'll have 4 games left after today. 2 games at home against Hamlin and McAllister, at Gustavus, and at St. Mary's. In order, it's Hamlin, at Gustavus, at St. Mary's, and McAllister at home. So we'll have the game for you here Wednesday night, 7 o'clock tip-off against the Hamlin Pipers, as today the Royals best the Wildcats, 85-62 the final score. For engineer Glenn Thompson, I'm Matt Nelson. For Lindsay in Athletic Communications and Eric in the boss's office, signing off on a Saturday from St. Paul. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and go Cats!